Good morning, ladies. I am just waking up for the day, so I want to go ahead and get my morning thoughts out. So this morning when I was going through my comments, I saw this particular one and it tickled me so. And the first thing I wanted to tell you all is your image is important, okay? Your image, your reputation, how you carry yourself in society, it's going to be so important in building relationships, in networking, and in creating a life that you love and that you enjoy living. Anyone who refers to themselves as a bad bee has already put themselves in an extremely low tier of woman. And everyone knows this. Anyone with any type of class, social status, education level, any type of person that has experienced a little bit of life knows that this is like hip hop language or something. Like, this is not real life. This is not how we address ourselves as women, in particular in public. You know, I remember when I was in high school, I used to love Little Kim, and I used to sneak and listen to Little Kim behind my parents' back because, you know, I grew up in the church. My father's a minister, and, you know, my parents didn't play. They weren't too strict with me, which is why I think, you know, I never went too wild. Even when I went off to college, you know, I did a few little sneaky things and, you know, things I wasn't supposed to do from time to time, but I always had extreme boundaries with how far I would go in any area of my life. And, you know, I was raised in a way to know, like, this is trashy music. Like, this is something you wouldn't even want people to know you listen to, especially when you reach a certain age. It's shocking to me that you have mothers and aunts and mentors and sisters and people who are public in the community that feel comfortable referring to themselves as a bad bee. How sad. Now, I'm not even going to address the other part of the comment because it's comical, but I wanted to talk about this concept of, you know, a bad bee, as if men with character, morals, and class that are God-fearing are interested in whoremongers. You know, ladies, I know this message is being sent out online. For those of you who are still out here, you know, you're still in this battle to match up and pair with someone who is worthy of you. I know that you're getting a lot of messages that all men are bad, all this type of man is bad, all these types of men are bad, don't date this type of man, because, you know, and all of it is a bunch of foolishness, because each man is an individual, and it's important to understand his background, his upbringing, and it's important to really go deeper with how you can build a life with someone, and also figuring out if you want the same things. You know, me and my husband, we're very traditional, but in some ways we're very modern, and we've chosen to do certain things and not do certain things in our life, and we're happy with that decision, and we're content with, you know, how we choose to navigate. You know, I have a picture of my parents here because this is how I grew to understand what manhood is, what a relationship is. Isn't my mom beautiful? Like, you know, when I look at my parents young like this and I see them now, because my parents are well into their 70s now, they're senior citizens. And it's just amazing to see, you know, kind of how they started out. And I'm sure that they went through many problems and many issues and probably a lot of things that I don't even know about. But one thing that was always consistent about my father is he came home every night. I saw my father every night, every day. He was at all of my dance recitals. He was at all of the pivotal moments in my life. He was at my graduation. He walked me down the aisle on my wedding day. He's always been there. And I've never, ever heard my mom, get a call from a strange woman in the middle of the night, or talk about how my father's behavior was inappropriate in the area of women. And, I grew up understanding what a good man is. And ladies, you can't really pay attention to a lot of people because the problem is they've never been around a good man, starting with their father. They don't even know how to choose a good man. So this idea that good men, quality men are out here looking for whoremongers is really, really just hilarious to me. My husband despises whoremongers. He's a good person, and I'm sure he prays for all people who have issues, but there is no whoremonger that has ever been able to turn my husband's head. Me and my husband notice beautiful people. We talk about beautiful people all the time. When we're out and about and I see a beautiful woman, I might say to my husband, "Oh my goodness, look at her outfit," or "Look at her, she has a lovely shape." There is no reason to be jealous of another woman's beauty or to put down another woman's beauty, because I'm secure in who I am. And I know what I need to work on, and I know what I want to improve, not for other people, but for myself and for my man, so that we are happy. And this is why it's important to have a sense of spirituality, to have core values and morals, because if you don't, you may attract a man who loves whoremongers. I remember in college when I met my husband, and it was love at first sight. It truly was. If you talk to anyone who went to college with me, they will tell you how green-eyed I was. When I met him, I feel like it was God. I really do. I just felt like this is the man I'm going to be with forever. And that's so crazy. But of course, we had to go through a process. I had to meet his family. I had to know if he could be the man that I needed, So he was a Kappa. He had crossed over in his fraternity before I pledged. So he pledged Kappa Alpha Psi. And at that time, everybody knows, and probably y'all have to let me know until this day, fraternities are very huge in the Black scene. They're very huge in the historical context of, the issues that the Black community has had to face. Me and my husband, we attended HBCU, so it was a cultural experience, okay? And we have our own political views and ideas about life, and we're overall very conservative, but that's okay. We still are Black people. And so just to let you know, fraternities and sororities are a huge part of that college Black experience. And all races have fraternities and sororities, I'm sure. And so I remember he had pledged. And so there were plenty of girls he could have picked. And I don't know what him and his fraternity brothers were doing before I met him. I'm sure nothing too crazy, but if it was crazy, I'm sure it wasn't like 1,000, 2,000 whoremongers he was chasing, because he just doesn't have that personality, But it was not hard for him to get girls, okay? It's not hard for people in fraternities on campus to get girls, because I don't know, girls are just attracted to that kind of scene. There's always some harlot hanging around, willing to be down for the crew. And so I remember when I met him, we took it very slow, and we were friends, and we started getting to know each other. And I liked him so much. I was like, I'm going to marry this guy. And of course I did. But he could have been with a lot of women, He could have said, I'm too young. I don't want to settle down and start a life with someone. But no, we shared the same values. We shared the same morals. And we grew up together and we made mistakes and we had to learn and we went through like hard times, not as a couple per se, but we went through hard times with our own individual growth, like getting to know who you are. What do you want to do for your career? Do you want to stay in this career? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do about family? Like, there's so many things about life that are hard. And you ladies know that. Like, God did not design life to be this easy breezy thing, but we can still find joy in our purpose. And relationships are so important to me because I think a relationship is really the foundation of why we're all here, and we extend it out into the community. And when I say relationship, I'm not even just talking about marriage. I'm talking about the relationship with your parents, the relationship with your aunts and uncles and cousins and friends and all of the people in our lives who are so important. So I wanted to come tell you today that like good men with character and morals, they're not trying to walk around with some whore on their arm. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Like, this is not an episode of Love and Hip Hop. Okay, we're talking about regular, average people who have reputations and images to protect, first. And secondly, we're talking about people who have a moral compass. You must mesh with a man who is more conservative, who is more like, no, this is inappropriate. And there have been so many times where my husband has been like, no, you don't need to say that. You don't need to do that. That's inappropriate. And I'm like, okay, babe, especially as I age. I talk about this on Wifey for Lifey group, how I had to mature, learn how to talk to my husband in a way that he can receive, learn how to be a wife that is dedicated to the purpose and to the vision of our union. And God has blessed us for that. I did a post on Wifey for Lifey group about how many men who lack sexual discipline destroy their families. It's a very sad thing to see. So many wives have told me such private stories. They trust me with that information because they know I would never say anything. They know I would never use that type of pain against them. And I have young women, older women, telling me stories about the way their spouse has betrayed them. And sometimes that happens because the truth of the matter is, if we don't stay in tune with God, we will go astray. And adultery can happen to anyone. So this is why it's important to reduce that risk and get to know a man's character. Not how much money he makes, not how cool he is, not how much swag he has. You want to get to know a man's character, because a man with character that fears God is going to provide. He's going to protect. He's going to meet your emotional needs. And that's a part of his nature, okay? Everyone's flawed. I'm flawed. My husband's flawed. And we have had to go through issues in our own relationship so that we could stay married and in love. And I'm happy to say that love is a beautiful thing. Don't let anyone discourage you. Don't let these women tell you all men cheat. That is emotional damage. I'm going to continue that series in my Patreon community. I've just been so busy lately. But that's emotional damage. A lot of women who are emotionally damaged, you can tell because they walk around calling themselves bad bees. How sick do you have to be to say that in public? Like, you should only be saying that riding in your car, singing to yourself, and then be embarrassed if you roll down your window and anyone heard it. I mean, this can't be life. Like, I can see why people are where they are in life and why they're going to stay there, because their mentality is low brow. So shout out to Sonia for this comment. And I just love reading your comments, Sonia. They're funny. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're enlightening. And we may disagree on a few things, but I can tell like you're somebody that's very, very cool. I wish we could talk. You know, you're very, very you're just funny. And I love reading your comments. You've been like riding for me since this whole interesting turn has occurred on YouTube. But I wanted to come and address this comment specifically because I think women are sick. A lot of women are sick. They're sick in the head. Okay, they lack morals, they lack structure, they lack boundaries, and they lack the ability to choose good men. No man with class would think it's cute for you to refer to yourself as a bad bee. My husband cringes at that word. He thinks it's disgusting. He thinks that is truly ghetto, I am sure. And so, ladies, protect your image. If you're going to listen to this trap music, you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. You are grown. But if you're going to listen to this trap music, just know it takes you down a dark path. And it puts ideas in your head. And it affects your femininity because all this over sexualization and that hardcore rapping and opening your legs and dipping low and doing splits, like these are things that we should only be doing in the bedroom with our husbands. Okay, this is the place to get as explicit as you want to in the safety and security of a committed relationship. And it's sad that we don't have more older women, you know, coaching the younger girls that are coming up. We want the younger girls to be able to have strong, healthy, solid relationships. We want them to have access to marriage with loyal, committed husbands. And we want them to be able to start families if you are a woman that wants children. Because children are important to our society. I've talked to you guys about the neglect of children in our society today. I work with children my whole life, and I actually had to kind of get out of it because it became too much. It became too much to see the abuse, the dysfunction that many of our children are going through. So I just wanted to come and talk about that this morning. And Sonia, thank you for tickling me with this comment this morning, and I will talk to you ladies later. Bye-bye.